Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this afternoon's webinar, Simplifying Pearl 2021 Reporting Compliance. My name is Susan Harden. I'm with AGS, and I'll be your presenter this afternoon. So thanks so much for being here. I know everybody's schedules are super busy this time of year with the holidays and with Pearl reporting and all kinds of fun stuff going on. So I really appreciate your time being here. Let's go ahead and get started. Today's agenda, really briefly, we're going to do just a quick welcome, provide just a quick history of AGS, dive into our demo where we will spend the vast majority of our time really looking at the application, showing you reporting capabilities, showing you WIPS reporting, Pearl compliance, business rules being fired and making sure that data entry is done correctly and up to date with the new Pearl fields and business rules. Have some time for a Q&A and some quick closing remarks, and we'll send you on your way. So if that's what you thought you were going to do today, you are in the right place. So let's go ahead and get going. With a picture being worth 1,000 words, as they say, here's just a quick snapshot of some logos of some of our customers that have been using AGS Prime for scaling your apprenticeship or closing the skills gap, or both, as in the case of some of their customers. Going all the way back to Tech Hire and Strengthening Working Families initiatives and America's Promise grants. We've been working with and supporting AGS or H1B grants for a number of years. We are very much H1B subject matter experts. So maybe some of these logos are familiar to you, and you may know some of these colleges and some of their reputations and initiatives. So just a quickie introduction with a slide about what we bring to the table. AGS Prime brings to you pre-built templates for H1B, just as plain as day. We have built and continue to update pre-built templates or applications for data entering, managing data, reporting WIPS reports for these applications for a number of years. We really focus on Pearl compliance so that you know that you've got an application that is driving all of the data entry correctly, and that your end users don't have to have all those business rules memorized. We really take care of that for you, so that at the end of the quarter or whenever you want to run the report, you can run a WIPS report and feel confident that the application is doing the heavy lifting for you, and you're not spending every quarter chasing down data. We can get you up and running very, very quickly. We provide personalized training and ongoing compliance and ongoing updates to the applications. I mean, Pearl 2021 is the perfect example of having to make quick changes for both data collection, business rule logic, and WIPS reporting outputting to meet the changing requirements for DOL ETA. So we do that for you. So, you know, kind of Pearl compliant, Pearl field compliant data validation, WIPS compliant CSV upload file generation, and then ongoing validation and report compliance, kind of the three major legs that people look for help when you're managing these kinds of grants. These grants, as you well know, you're managing hundreds, if not thousands in some cases, of apprentices that you need to move through that pipeline over the next, over the 4-year cycle. That's a lot of data. So this system helps take the technology off the critical path, as we like to say. So without further ado, if there are no questions, I'm keeping my eye on the chat here, and you can certainly unmute yourselves. But since I see no questions at this point, I'm going to go ahead and dive over to the application and sort of jog us through at sort of a high level what the application looks like, what reports look like, some of the key reports, and then what it looks like to be doing some of the data entry, so you can see for yourself what the forms look like and how the business rules fire and how that guides data entry through that process. Okay, so let's go over to our H1B application. And you should be seeing my screen. It says AGS Prime. Welcome to the AGS Prime H1B Scaling Your Apprenticeship and Closing the Skills Gap application. This is my demo domain. This is my demo application for this particular application set. And what are we seeing? We are seeing a completely web-based application that is hosted in AWS or Amazon Web Services. And each of our customers have their own dedicated virtualized web server in Amazon Web Services in AWS. There is no commingling of data across our customers. All of our customers have their own hard-walled domain. So no one else, when they log into their system, has any ability to get access to your database. We are what's called a single tenant environment. So for those of you taking notes, that's a very key differentiator. We have been vetted by dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of organizations over the years for our security protocols and handling, how we support the DOL ETA PII requirements. We have HECVAT and HECVAT Lite for auditing and reporting. All of that kind of information has been made available to our customers. If you have any need for additional information, please let me know. Just send me an email and we'll provide you some additional information. So this is AGS Prime for H1B. We see our menu across the top, what we call modules. We go to the home module first, where we see some resources, where we provide you some resources with links for training, with workflow guides. You can add additional resources here should you want to. We certainly see customers adding their own workflow diagrams, their own MOUs, their own SOP documents for what they expect their users and their partners to be doing, and so on and so forth. So you can add your own resources. When I click on participant management, just as part of an overview, this is where all of your participant data resides, both potential apprentices and apprentice data. All of that resides under this module. The employer management module is a built-in integrated CRM component that allows you to manage all of your employers. You can manage the date in which your employer became an engaged apprenticeship employer based on meeting the quality standards. And you can use the employer management module to keep track of all of your employer outreach activities, job openings, apprenticeship matching between the employer side and the apprentices. All of that tracking can be done over here. The admin module gives you the capability for application administrators to manage some additional keywords and aspects of the application that we allow you some flexibility for configuration control. We won't let you configure yourself out of compliance. That we won't do. But we do give you the ability to sort of color outside the lines and buff and polish things a little bit. So while we have customers in Florida who might do things differently than what's going on over in Washington State, for example, with some different demographics or programs or training classes, if you will, you can manage those keywords, we call them, on your own as an application administrator. And there's no development required. I train you how to do it. It's very straightforward. I'm going to jump over to self-registration. So we have a self-registration module that allows you to extend to potential applicants a self-registration form, and this can be modified If you want to add some additional fields here, you want to add some consent language. You want to have your potential apprentices attach a series of documents. You can do so. And then all of this feeds into the participant management module in a routing and approval kind of a process. So someone self-registers, and that registration form needs to be reviewed and approved by at least one staff person before that potential participant can be considered for program enrollment. So just kind of a quick overview of the modules. Let's jump over to reports. And of course, reports is very key to why people look for these kinds of tools, because you need to have a way to easily and accurately run your WIPS file and know with confidence that the data is being managed correctly. So we have a series of canned reports that we have built that we provide to our customers, and we add new reports here on a fairly regular basis, usually ideas that come from our customers, to be quite honest with you. In addition to canned reports, which is this list, we have a series of queries, dozens and dozens of queries that export out as just simple CSV files. And you can create your own reports and you can create your own queries. So just a quick example of being able to quickly dump out a data set out to a CSV file using the power of Excel for filtering. For example, I can do some quick querying here within this particular data set, or I can even create additional queries, joining records and joining data sets together to do something more advanced if I want to or need to. Let's go back to reports. So first among equals, right? Our H1B WIPS CSV file. All right, that's the bread and butter. Let's go ahead and run this report. So we present you with a dialog box. You're going to select from these parameters the grant year, Q3, which is what we're going to be reporting on now. In real life, you would not include a header, of course, because the WIPS does not allow headers. We give you some options for testing purposes. And so for today, just so you can see the columns to validate that we're actually running a WIPS file for you, I'll include the headers. We also give you a built-in error checking file. So in addition to the fields, the field errors and form error checking and validations that we provide, we also give you one last, kind of check of making sure that the report is clean. So another validation report. For today, I'm going to say yes, ignore the error file. I know I've got some errors in my system, so I want to just avoid that for now. And I'm going to go ahead and run this report. While that runs, I will take a quick sip of coffee and open up this report. So you can see, I'll just sort of highlight this and kind of scroll across the top. For those of you who are intimately familiar with Perl, these column headers should be looking pretty familiar to you by now. Of course, we take all the human readable words and put them into the aliases as required by WIPS. So this should look, pretty darn familiar to you. So that's the WIPS report. The most important report of all, right? In addition to that, we give you the ability to run your real-time performance outcome measures report. So this is going to run a report against all of the goals that you put into your proposal in your appendix compared to what you're actually doing, compared to the actual data in the system. Here's what this report looks like. And this is a report now that you'll want to be including as an augment report for your QNR. All the newer H1B DOL reports or grants are expecting this to be included as an augment report. So these goals should look familiar over here on column B. This came from your proposal. So we're looking at all the projected, your actuals, and kind of where you are. Very important report. We save you 1,000,000 hours not having to build this in Excel. We've always produced that report for our customers. Where is that data coming from? I'm going to swizzle over to the admin module just for a moment and look at the H1B goals. So we give you the ability, if you want to run that report, and everyone does, you'll need to create your goals documents for every year. So just pull out that appendix from your proposal and document that per year, per category, and even per organization if you want to. Not all of our customers want to do that. Not all of our customers put that kind of delineation in their proposals, but you can if you want to. And then you're just going to type in the numbers that you put in your proposal. And then this is the fodder that is used for the projections for that goals report. Just wanted to let you see where that gets entered. So you as an application administrator, we train you how to enter that data, keep track of that. Once you've entered it, if it doesn't change, you're done. And you just, then kind of roll with that with your reporting purposes. We also give you a QPR. So this is a report that, as all good project managers know, we manage to surprises. That is to say, we don't want any surprises. So we let you run this QPR out of AGS Prime. It should match what comes back from the feds after you have validated your WIPS file, so that you know in advance what your QPR is going to look like. We produce this report for you with the same layout and the same logic that is used to produce this report out of WIPS. So it should be identical. If it's not, we always want to know. There may be something on our side, or in the case of WIPS, they might not have updated something quite yet, or maybe there's something misaligned in their code. But either way, we want to know. This is a great report. It gives our customers great comfort to know that they have this at their hands. You can run these reports whenever you want to. There's no automated interaction with WIPS. So you can run these reports in Prime as frequently as you want. I highly encourage our customers to run these key reports every couple of weeks, really stay on top of the data. Other report I want to show you here really quickly is the code book report. The code book is just what it says. For my analysts on the call, and for those of you who are really endeared to the Perl, this will look very familiar. We have produced or reproduced the Perl basically in a human readable, sort of that very, very large spreadsheet into a readable, digestible fashion by data element number and field name. It gives you everything about every single field. So if we want to see what the Perl says about Perl data element 1800, this is what the spreadsheet says. And this is where you will find that information in Prime. It's on our AGS Prime credential form. Here's the field name. Here's the WIPS, the upload field name. Here's how Prime is handling the selection process. These are conditions, how we're checking for errors, all of the information about the business rules and the business logic. We keep this up to date. So as those changes occur, we keep this system completely up to date, including the code book. So you may come up here and say, I don't know what the field is, but it has something to do with incumbent workers. So I can type the word incumbent, and by golly, I'm going to get all the fields that have the word incumbent in it, and I can go find my field and get information about how, what is Perl looking for, first of all, and how is Prime handling it. If there's something going on that you just don't quite get, and you want to have all this information at your disposal. You can run this and say, I want to find my favorite field, 1813, right? Everybody's favorite field. The date completed during program participation in an education or training program that leads to a post-secondary education or credential or employment. So this is one of those really important outcome fields. And it's just really nice to be able to get access to how we handle this field for Perl and for WIPs uploading. So I want to just show you that report. The code book is your friend. Our customers heavily rely on that. And then I want to show you one last report. That's the checkpoints report. This is not a federally required report, but it is one of those reports that our customers heavily use because it puts at your fingertips. Again, this is just my demo system, so there's no real data here. Per organization, per program, all of the information about each one of my participants. And I have my columns up here where I can do some filtering and sorting. And I can see, for example, across the board, who's enrolled in a program, which one are non-incumbent, who has entered employment, who has training and completed training, who's exited the program. You can see only a handful of people have already gone through the process. Where's my follow-up, my red X's in these last 3 columns. So this gives you, as project managers and grant managers and data managers, the ability to see, you know, really across the board. I'll take off toggling and you can really see, you know, just the data and kind of see where your data is. I want to see all of my incumbent workers, where incumbent worker, the receiving incumbent worker training is a yes. And I can see all my incumbent workers who are in Wraps. And I can see for that information kind of where we are in terms of data that's been completed. So this really is a great report to help you kind of see where your data, see where you are with all of your data. I'm going to switch gears just a minute now, and I'm going to jump over to the data input side. I'm going to click on my participant management module, where we see all of our reviewed participants. If self-registrants had come in, they'd be sitting over here in the review called not yet reviewed participants, where I have a whole bunch of participants who have not yet been reviewed. And so once I eyeball this, if I'm the lucky staff person who gets to review the incoming self-reg forms, I'm going to review this and make sure they filled out the fields that are supposed to be filled out on the self-reg form. It's not Mickey Mouse or Donald Duck and that kind of stuff. And I can say, okay, we're going to go ahead and we're going to review it and save it. And now they're going to show up in the reviewed participants list. So let's take a look at our existing reviewed participants, and let's take a look at Alexia Abrams. So Alexia has some documents in her case folder already. So this is the electronic file cabinet, right? I've just gotten up out of my chair, walked over to the file cabinet, pulled out the A drawer, pulled out the manila file folder for Abrams, Alexia, came back to my desk, and I opened up the file folder. And in that file folder, I see paper-clipped sections of categories of documents, profile and program and services and assessments, training, credentials, measurable skills gains, pre-apprentice work experience or apprenticeship, if she's not a pre-apprentice, case notes, and attachments. So I have this case folder architecture that allows me to keep track of as many pieces of paper that I need to in order to track this participant's enrollment in the program, training that they are engaged in and complete ideally, right? Credentials that they complete, jobs that we place them in or that they achieve, and that they exit the program and walk out the door, having moved from point A to point B and B to C, et cetera, et cetera. So here's your electronic case folder. Everything starts with the profile. This should look familiar. It looks very similar to the self-reg form, right, as by design. We have the required Perl fields here, the allowed values. The help text that comes directly from the Perl is here. Accountability exit status and the only allowed values and the definition for that field. It's a little bit of a weird field for people who may not be used to H1B grants. You can go back to her case folder, and we've decided that we're going to enroll her in a program. So we've enrolled her in a program called FAME, funded by the H1B grant. We document her date of program entry. We don't know the date of program exit yet, so this is a living, breathing form we'll come back to at some point if she, when she exits the program. And then we have program characteristics. So we keep these fields up to date. Where there are business rules that conflict with other fields, we put errors and messages right on the form. And you can see that the save button is not live because I clearly have some errors on the form. So a person cannot be considered unemployed at program entry and be a recipient of incumbent worker. Just like I can't be employed and long-term employed. That doesn't fly either, right? So here's just a great beginning example of how we are building into the forms and the fields business logic to help drive the data entry process to be as perfect as possible. So that you as grant managers are not chasing down data at the end of the quarter, trying to frantically get ready for your WIPS report. We're going to take the vast majority of that burden off of your plate and allow you to do what you should be doing, getting more, fundraising for more money, running analytics, reporting your outcomes and successes, et cetera, not chasing down data. So we've already added the new fields for Pearl 2021, where we're keeping track of our first apprenticeship program, the date they started the first apprenticeship, expected first apprenticeship completion date, the updated values for these fields have all been added along with the help text. And the business rules around these fields have all been added, including the post-completion follow-up information for incumbent worker trainings for incumbent workers who have completed their training program. These fields will not be live unless the person is incumbent and has completed their training based on these fields. So we don't also make you fill out information that's not valid for the attributes for your particular participant. There's no point in wasting time putting data in that's just not required. We have already updated these fields to be in compliance. We look at the training form. We've already updated these fields for compliance. These fields are now no longer required. We will allow our customers another quarter to get their data updated from registered apprentice because that is no longer an allowed value. And we are helping our customers update that information as much as we can if they can make a decision of what this could be en masse to something else. We'll make those changes for them to save them time for the next round of updating. The credential record has, of course, been updated. The employment record has been updated, and the pre-apprenticeship work experience form has been updated to keep track of work experience types. We also provide you an ability to keep track of services. The services catalog is under your control. It's one of those administrative keywords that you can continue to add to over time if your project continues to morph and mature. We give you the ability to keep track of case notes and participant attachments. As many as you wish, as many as you need, there's no limit. And you can have as many different types of attachments utilized here as you so wish. It doesn't have to be just be a PDF, for example. So that's a quick overview of the application. It's a quick look at some of the key reports, particularly the WIPS report. We have walked through some of the examples of on-form and on-field compliance. We've taken a look at for WIPs, and we've taken a look at some of the new fields that have been added for Pearl 2021 compliance. Are there any questions? Okay, I'll take that silence as a no. I'm going to jump back at this time to my presentation for just a couple of wrap-up comments here. The AGS value proposition, we really organize this into 4 primary categories. We see our experience. We've been around for almost 23 years. We are absolutely H1B subject matter experts. We work with 40 plus, I think by now, H1B grants nationwide, multi-state consortiums, single state consortiums with lots of partners within a state, single school grants as well. So you name it, we are sort of covering it. From a compliance perspective, hopefully you have seen today what we mean by compliance. And we have a pre-built application. We can turn your system on within 24 hours, and the system is compliant. It has the real-time performance outcome measures reporting and WIPs reporting for ongoing validation and report compliance. From a functional perspective, hopefully you've been able to see kind of the major bullets here: performance outcome measures, the integrated CRM, self-registration. This is all made available to you on top of a no-code platform. So we don't have time here today, because I have just a couple of minutes remaining. But this is also built on top of a no-code platform that is also part of what you have access to with your subscription. The ability to use the no-code platform to build additional applications for other projects that you might have, other grants, other initiatives, the afternoon job fair, March Madness, whatever it might be that you want to be able to track within a database, and try to shed Excel spreadsheets and utilize this tool at your fingertips to its limit, really. We provide unlimited and unmetered administrative technical support throughout the life of your project. So we provide training for the application administrators. We provide domain administrative training for people who are going to be trained to build out additional reports and queries and or other applications. And we provide, excuse me, a series of monthly user group meetings. There's a monthly user group for closing the skills gap and scaling apprenticeship, which is the first Wednesday of every month. For the domain administrators, we have a webinar series that we host, live webinars for that user group meeting the first Thursday of every month. All of those are free. Those are all recorded. We have almost endless hours of YouTube training videos and playlists available to you. So here's my contact information. I would be delighted to get together with you afterwards if you have other folks who you would like to see see the application, or have other questions that might come up over time. But I very much appreciate your time. I don't see any questions chatted in at the moment. That's being monitored by someone, and they're telling me no questions have come in that I haven't already answered apparently, so that's good. So get in touch with me if you'd like to hear more or have other questions. I really appreciate your time again. Thank you so much. I wish everyone a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday that's upcoming, and let me know how we can help. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.